The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of this station.
Welcome to Insights into Northeast Michigan, a WBKB News public affairs program. Insights deals with the issues affecting those in the community, as well as Northeast Michigan and the state. And now, Insights into Northeast Michigan.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Insights. I'm Bethany Rishardi. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here at Art in the Loft, joined with Gallery Coordinator Justin Christensen Cooper, along with a board member, Amber Hess. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
So you are celebrating 15 years at Art in the Loft, is that correct?
That is correct, this October.
Alrighty, so can we kind of start from the beginning? How did Art in the Loft start? Why was it created?
Sure, it was back in 2001. Actually right after 9/11, and so it was even questioned if it should start, but it was a group of artists and community members and art enthusiasts, business members as well, that wanted to start a one-time show up in this space on the third floor of the center building. And you know, they decided to go for it, and it was such a resounding, almost a fresh of breath air for the community after such a tragic event, that it was, you know, so well received that, well, let's keep it going, let's do this more. And things started building and happening, and programming started to happen.
So what is the overall mission here? You mentioned you've been a board member for 6 years. How have you seen that mission grow?
Sure. The mission is, you know, is to include our community into hands-on participation in the arts, to have a well-rounded education and appreciation for the arts, but to do that in our growing Fine Arts Center through that programming. And so we've been able and lucky enough to really succeed with that mission through you know, the benefit of our community members and board members such as Amber, and really dedicated to the arts.
Would you agree?
I do, yes. Over the years, we've really developed different programs, especially programs for youth. And there's a great program called Ready, Set, Create, which brings in students to the loft, and they just really love soaking up the art in the space, and they get to learn about art education and appreciation, and they get to create art, and that's just been a great program.
And art isn't always exactly the only thing you do here, right? I know you have the kitchen in the back, and I've even heard of weddings taking place here and different things like that.
Yeah, really, it's become more of a fine arts hub, not just, you know, it did stem from that one visual arts exhibit, but it really has become more of the hands-on, and doing that through different variations of what fine art is. And we've been lucky enough to have visual arts, the addition of the kitchen in 2014, and through the culinary arts, and really expand, excuse me, expand our age range that experiences that.
Now, I know a lot of the artwork that comes here is from the state, you know, state artists. How would you say that the Alpena community kind of contributes to the operations that take place here?
Okay, yes, each winter view or summer view season, when we have our art exhibits, there are many local artists right from the area that are included, and then, like, as you mentioned, from around the state, we have artists, and the community really comes here in a lot of different ways for different events. At the kickoff of every exhibit, we have a community event, and that has really become popular. And like you mentioned, the kitchen, people come from the community for the classes. The culinary classes have been a great hit. And then in the spring, we have a young artist exhibit, and this brings in literally hundreds of pieces of artwork from all over the area from students, and they get to come and show their family and their friends that they are artists, and they get to have their work displayed here. So it really brings in thousands of people from the area, which is really neat to see.
So how does it feel to celebrate 15 years?
It's great. It really has, and you know, I've been here since 2013, so this is really only I've been here 3 of the 15 years. But we've been lucky enough to see such growth, and it feels fantastic. I feel like I've been here since the beginning. Actually, I have been here since the beginning. I was actually in the first, as a senior in high school, in the very first Young Artist exhibit. So things kind of came full circle for me personally, growing up in the area, and then being able to work in my passion, which is the arts. And I've been so lucky enough to to live that every day and to have community members that also feel the same way. And so to celebrate 15 is great, and we expect wonderful things from the next 15 as well.
So any big things coming up to celebrate these 15 years?
Definitely. This fall is going to be our 15th anniversary celebration. It's going to be the entire month of October. And what we're going to be doing are Friday events every single Friday in October. And we're going to be opening that up with our first annual juried art exhibit, and that's what's going to be taking place. It has the theme of black and white. We have a wonderful juror, Beverly Benson Wolf, for that from the Detroit area, and she's been a long-standing exhibiting artist here who works in photography, black and white herself, color. She's seen the gamut, but she has such an appreciation for all types of art that I think she's going to be perfect for the juror for this. So what we're asking the community too is there's still time to get in submissions for that show up until September 5th. We have a website for that, and hopefully we were able to show that to the community. And anybody that has a knack for art, that is a professional artist, or has a certain piece that they think is also very good for this show, we ask that if it fits the theme of black and white, we would love for them to submit artwork for that. And the reason we picked black and white is actually one of the co-founders of the starting force of Art in the Loft back when it started, and why we're celebrating 15 years today is Susan Lane Bastow. And her work is exemplified in black and white photography, and we're going to be honoring her presence with that, her memorial with that show, and we can't wait to do so. And she was such a striving force to make Art in the Loft happen, and we get to celebrate her style of work and kind of her enthusiasm with the artwork and making sure Art in the Loft was going to happen. So we're going to be so wonderful to honor her memorial for that. So it's going to be great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for some of our viewers who might not know, what is a jurred art exhibit?
Definitely, yeah, good question. What this is going to be is there's a fee to enter, up $35 for up to 3 images, and you kind of pay into the show. And then what happens is each individual piece is scored on a rubric. And that's where Beverly Benson Wolf comes in, and she determines if that piece of work fits the score. And if it receives a high enough score, then we get to exhibit it up in the gallery for that whole entire month, where the works will be for sale. And then we have an opening reception on that first Friday, which is October 7th, where Beverly will be revealing the winners. So we have a best of show, second place, third place, and an honorable mention as well.
And then for the public to come and see this, is there specific hours and times to come in?
Yeah, and that's going to be October 7th to the 29th. And we have our regular normal gallery hours, which is Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we're really hoping that we get a great turnout for that artist reception on that first night. That's going to be open and free to the public, and they get to see all this wonderful artwork that fits the theme. It's going to be fantastic to see this unique space filled with artwork that all fits that one simple black and white theme.
So 15 years is a big accomplishment. Any future plans that you might want to mention, looking forward? I'm sure you're hoping for another 15, huh?
That's the main goal here, yeah. We, and Amber can help me explain this too, but on October 21st, which is going to be our third Friday event, yearly we have a fundraiser is what we call it. Not a fundraiser, but a fundraiser, although we are seeking funds. But we do it in a fun way.
Right.
And usually we hold our annual Glamour and Gourmet event, which has been a signature event for the gallery, and really pushes it into the next year with the funds needed in order to, pay staff, make sure that our lights are on, that kind of thing, but to have that educational programming that brings so many of our community members in. But it won't be Glamour Gourmet this year. It's going to be another event that fits that theme, and we're calling it the Black and White Gala, which is going to be fantastic. October 21st, tickets are going to go on sale very soon, so we're going to have a big publicity push with that. But the nice thing about this is it's open to couples, individuals, men and women, they can come in, and we're going to have wonderful auction packages, artwork that will be here for the show. We're going to have very high-profile artists, I can't name yet, but that fit the black and white theme. And they're going to be up here and exhibiting. It's going to come back to the art, and it's going to be all about fine arts and really why we started this gallery. So.
And there'll be some good food too. Because
Oh,
we
yeah.
always,
Can't
we
forget about
always
that.
have great food at our events. That's
Exactly.
important.
That's how you get them, isn't it?
That's how we sell tickets, that's right.
I wanted to just mention that one thing that's also awesome about this 15th year is that we unveiled the mural project, the community mural project, and it's definitely not black and white. If you've seen it, it's every color, and that exists is pretty much in that mural in the Pocket Park on Chisholm Street. But we're just excited that we were able to
fantastic.
help bring that to the community.
Absolutely.
And that it's
Beautiful
coming out
addition.
in this 15th year, I think is great. You know, we talk about our flagship programs of Ready, Set, Create and our exhibits, but this is a flagship project that really has been a culmination of what we're all about up here. So.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much again for the both of you being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
And thank you for joining us. And don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll talk more about how Art in the Loft is celebrating their 15 years. Welcome back, everyone. I'm still here at Art in the Loft, now joined with co-founder of the Susan Lane Foundation, Joe Bastow. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here.
So can you tell me a little bit about how the Susan Lane Foundation started and overall what this foundation is?
Certainly. Susan Lane Foundation began, my sister and I co-founded the nonprofit in 2013, and really it comes from a need that we saw in the community to really celebrate art through literature. And we really wanted to offer different opportunities for Northeast Michigan to get engaged through performance, through workshop and education in literature and writing in poetry and writing in nonfiction, writing in the creative arts, really. We saw a need for that, and so we really put this together to celebrate that. And really it's in honor of our late aunt, Susan Lane Bastow. And she was an instrumental force in our lives to really push us to be the creative, expressive people that we are. And so in her name, we've created this foundation to do all kinds of things in the community that really broaden literary perspective.
And your family is from the area, right?
Correct, yes. We all grew up here. The Bastows have been in Alpena for over 85 years, and so we're all kind of native. My sister and I went our separate ways and came back to town after 20 years of being out in the world, and now we're back here with our families and working on that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about how the foundation and maybe yourself have been involved with Art in the Loft over the last couple of years?
So we connected with Art in the Loft about 4 years ago. We have an annual, we were doing really what inspired the Susan Lane Foundation to get off the ground was that we had a poetry reading, and we've done it for 6 years now. We approached Art in the Loft about 4 years ago and said, hey, we love your space. Our Aunt Suze was really instrumental in getting off the ground in 2001, and so we'd love to be a part of it. Could we hold our reading here? We met with the board, and the board said, sure, it'd be great. And every year since then, we've had poetry in Alpena, which 1% of the population reads poetry, and of that 1%, most of them are poets. So we've had events here, and we've had upwards of 60 people. Actually, our last event, which was August 13, we had over 84 people come to Art in the Loft to enjoy poetry of all things. So we've kind of grown over the years with our yearly event here at Art in the Loft, and it's been a fabulous experience, and we're looking forward to actually holding the capstone event at the end of October, which is Image and Word Through Black and White, a celebration of not only Susan Lane, but also of arts in general.
So can you talk a little bit about Susan Lane's artwork? I know we have some of it behind you here, and maybe why the black and white theme kind of comes from her artwork.
Absolutely. She was an artist that worked in many genres, but her specific and main focal point was photography. She always came back to that. That was kind of her foundation. And so, yes, the pieces behind me are black and whites that she took, that she exhibited not only in Alpena, but also in Ann Arbor and in Grand Rapids and different places around the state. And she had traveled extensively, Europe and other places to get her photographs and her photography. And she would actually be in the darkroom at her her parents' basement, and she would develop her own film, and I get to watch her do some of that. So the black and white theme for the celebration for Art in the Loft's 15th anniversary kind of revolves around her photography. And so I think that is inspirational to a lot of people.
Absolutely. So what have you found, working with her artwork, being involved in the community? How are the reactions when they find out about the Susan Lane Foundation, or maybe just when they see her artwork?
I think, her artwork continues to inspire a lot of people. I think that the work that my sister Ann Harity and I do with the foundation, not only with student writing prizes that award cash money for submissions, also our community poetry readings that we have in Alpena, and we join with Besser, the Besser Museum. Also, the North 45 East Poetry Reading. We're involved in the community, and I think people are starting to recognize that we've been around and that we're really trying to support art through literature and the arts in general. We also have a haiku contest that's coming up with the Heritage Tour in October, and so we've got our hands in some things, and we're trying to really bring the community to art, and I think the community is starting to come.
So with this black and white exhibit, how do you think the atmosphere is going to feel, kind of seeing this whole gallery be turned into black and white, and of course in remembrance of such a great lady? I
think, it's going to be fabulous. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Justin's got a great sense of how to put these things together, and he's been extremely successful in pulling all kinds of community members together. It's going to be a wonderful event. I think everybody should give it a try in October.
So this specific event coming up in the end of October, is this open to the public? How is that setting going to be?
Absolutely, it's open to the public. We are selling tickets for $10 to the event. It's the capstone event, and we are going to have all kinds of participation. There's going to be a walking tour of Susan's work. There's going to be some writing involved and an opportunity to share that. There's going to be some music and some expression. There'll be some conversation. So the capstone event looks to be a lot of fun, and we're hoping people come out for that.
And I think my last question would just be, is there a website or any way that our viewers can learn more about the Susan Lane Foundation?
Absolutely. We're always looking for people to get involved, and for people to volunteer or just to get a hold of us and let us know how we're doing. Susan Lane Foundation at gmail.com. That's a great way to get a hold of us, or you can always reach out to Ann or I specifically.
All right, well, thank you, Joe, again for being here today. We really appreciate it. And be sure not to go anywhere, because we'll be right back with more. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Tim Kuhnlein, the president of the Thunder Bay Arts Council. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Bethany.
So can you tell me a little bit about Thunder Bay Arts Council and their involvement here in the community?
Well, Thunder Bay Arts Council is ironically celebrating its anniversary this year as well.
Oh.
It's our 45th anniversary, and we're really excited that we're integrating with Art in the Loft this October for a special event, but also continuing this long-standing tradition of both organizations to promote arts and culture here in Alpena and Northeast Michigan. There's a lot of stuff going on in this community in terms of the exacerbation of arts and cultural activities. And Art in the Loft has really been at the center of this, particularly in the last decade and a half. They've really elevated the bar and the quality of particularly visual arts, but also creating the venue, a really hip sort of atmosphere for celebrating arts and culture, that we're just really pleased to join that fold and help reinforce what they're doing.
So how are you really getting involved this October?
Well, the Thunder Bay Arts Council's history is really more rooted in the performing arts. That's their history. They were one of the first arts councils to be established in the state of Michigan. And we're actually the oldest continuously existing arts council in the state of Michigan now. So our emphasis on performing arts has allowed us to expand outward as well into the visual arts, but it's really Art in the Loft that is the premier visual arts center for Northeast Michigan. But we're all working to create greater mass, to create a greater draw for Alpena, for Northeast Michigan as a center for arts and culture. And so by joining up with Art in the Loft and hosting holding one of our events here, having Art in the Loft host one of these events this October, is really fostering that notion of collaboration, the concentration of mutual effort to make Alpena a destination.
How do you think the area does right now with arts in the schools, in the community overall?
Well, arts are always the first to go, and we've seen some recent trends in our schools that are kind of disturbing, but at the same time, I think Alpena is experiencing a renaissance in many respects, not only with economic development, but a realization that arts and culture can drive economic development. And certainly Art in the Loft and Thunder Bay Arts Council, the NOAA Sanctuary, Besser Museum, we've all been at the forefront of the library. And not just in Alpena, but throughout the region. We've all kind of been at the forefront of pushing this agenda.
So going back to the event in October, what is the showcase series and what specifically is going to be taking place here in the Loft?
Right. Well, showcase series are hallmark series for the Arts Council, again emphasizing performing arts. And in October, Friday, October the 14th, we're teaming up with Art in the Loft here to host Red Roots, which is a trio of really cute little redheads from Louisville. They're sort of a gospel, folk, bluegrass mix. And we're kind of relying on Art in the Loft to help us create some atmosphere. You know, they have a knack for doing that, sort of a nightclub thing. And so anyhow, it sounds like it could be a really neat, unique evening of entertainment.
So how do you feel being able to celebrate with Art in the Loft for their 15th year instead of maybe looking at it like two galleries competing? How does it feel to work with them?
Well, with all the collaboration that's been going on with Michigan Arts and Culture Northeast MACNY and the Discovery Tour and all that stuff, Art in the Loft, Thunder Bay Arts Council, the Marine Sanctuary, and Besser Museum were at the front and center about 9 years ago of creating this greater notion of collaboration, because you create the inertia then for attraction. And there's this term called coopetition circulating. It's a combination of cooperation and competition, friendly competition. I don't see us as competing. I think we complement one another. We do similar things, but very unique in relationship to one another. And so, I guess with that being said, it's really exciting that they're celebrating the 15th year and we're celebrating our 14th year. And we can launch our first performing arts event at this venue.
So I'm assuming this isn't maybe the first time that you guys have partnered up and done like one of these events before.
No, we've never actually, to my knowledge, our Thunder Bay Arts Council has never hosted an event specifically here at Art in the Loft. But we've had, especially in the last 9 years, going back to the establishment of MACNY, we've had a really good working relationship.
So would you say, that there's future involvement together, maybe for the next 15?
We serve, both of our boards are an integral part of the corporate structure of MACNY. And, a lot of people, when we first created the gallery at the Arts Council, people thought we were competing and there was concern, what was this all about? But I think we've realized that you have to create critical mass. And if you do it together, and complement one another rather than undercut one another, everyone wins. And in a little community like this, in a remote part of our state, we can together propel this place to a different level. And I think that's where we're headed.
And the event that you are going to be holding here, that's open to the public, right?
Yeah, it's open to the public. It's $15 at the door, or 2 for $25 pre-purchase, or our T-Barts Pass allows open access to all of our events throughout the season in that showcase series.
And just kind of like a social setting. Do you maybe want to mention some of the other things in the showcase?
In terms of Red Roots, that evening will be hopefully more of a nightclub type atmosphere, very casual. As I understand it, Fresh Palate's going to be catering, and Thunder Bay Winery and other sources of open bar will be available. But that's the first, and it'll be fun for us. It's kind of a different approach for us. Usually our performing arts have been at the high school auditorium, and we're just trying to change things up. The next event in our series is going to be actually held at the theater, Thunder Bay Theater, and it's a local Abby Radeshacker and her friends in concert. And so it'll be kind of like not really a nightclub atmosphere, but maybe a step up, almost like you'd see in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry, that type of thing.
Great. So how can someone maybe get a list of these events and learn more?
Consult our website, thunderbayarts.org. It's all laid out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and congratulations, starting the Loft.
Absolutely, I agree. And thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week for another edition of Insights.
Insights into Northeast Michigan is produced by WBKB News. If you have any comments, suggestions, or topics you would like to see on a future show, please email WBKB News. This has been a production of Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation. All rights reserved.